Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to the Game of Fortune. Now, unfortunately, my microphone cut out again, so I've actually done this episode, and I'm redoing it again. Apologies for that. We're learning about Alphonse's story, as you remember from the end of the last episode. Let's just carry on from where we left off, shall we? So instead, I swerved to a different topic. Anyway, since that stalled, I shifted my investigation into other matters. From what I've gathered, Cole Garrett was able to create a well-armed, well-funded personal security company with the help of Nigel Edwards. Considering Cole's ties to organised crime, I thought that it was odd that someone as influential and powerful as Nigel Edwards would want to fund his jump into their business. But then I was reminded of something he told me once. He said that Cole was in charge of security and law enforcement in the Digits of Eden. You told him about the Digits of Eden? I did. You know what they say about telling outsiders, especially those who solve crimes and investigate. It's one thing to reach out to people in need, but this guy could bring all sorts of trouble. I don't mean to pry, but it really does sound suspicious when you say that outsiders shouldn't know about the Digits of Eden. We're not doing anything wrong, but you wouldn't understand. You're just going to assume the worst. Maria, he's just a man. I think it's fine if he knows a few things. He's a private investigator. What if he tells someone who might actually do something? Like a police chief or a lawyer or someone who'd actually do harm to us. Then we have to show him that the Digits of Eden is a good thing. That's what this is all about. I just want to believe in them. I want to believe that they're still good and still helping people. Mum, of course they are. Imagine where we'd be without them. I know, Maria. I know well enough. But people and organisations can change, and not always for the better. I just want to make sure that the change is going in the right direction. I guess that's fair. I'm sorry you had to hear that. The Digits of Eden is a very sensitive topic. There are always rumours of bad things going on, but I assure you that there have been nothing but a good force for many of us who don't have anywhere to turn. What do you mean? This home was given to me by the Digits of Eden. I get stipends of money every month to help with medicine, food and travel expenses. When I need things done, I have friends in the Digits of Eden that'll do things for me for low costs or for free. Wait, when Maria was born, I had a bunch of mothers help me take care of her when I was ill-prepared for the work of motherhood. It's a wonderful community, and I'm sure that many others feel the same way as Maria and I do. And we don't want it to go away. We don't want it torn down. Without it, many of us would be forced to live on the streets or resort to unsavoury methods of living. We just want a good life, and the Digits of Eden help provide that. Her words were earnest, and I didn't detect a hint of a lie. And yet, I could see that there was a lingering doubt. If it's so great, why is it so secretive? I've tried looking up information about it, but I haven't been able to find anything about them. And why the reluctance to tell outsiders? That's because an outsider wouldn't understand. What wouldn't I understand? The Digits of Eden is mostly altruistic, but they do ask things of us from time to time. Money, services, information, things like that. Just a way to pay it forward. It's no different than giving a tithe at the church, except sometimes it goes beyond money. Maybe you'd be asked to use your talents to help another member of the community, or do some volunteer work. At my age, I can't really contribute much in terms of work, but I pay money when I can. Yeah, and a lot of the money goes to really great stuff, like this house, for example. They have their own schools. I went to one of them growing up, you know. Amazing doctors that'll give you medicines for treatment for really cheap. And you'll always be safe too. No one's ever tried to rob us or bother us since we've been here. I'm starting to see the picture here, and I'm really not liking it. Sounds like it really is mostly good stuff aside from the occasional tax here and there. It's worth it. The world's a cruel place, but the Digits of Eden provide us with everything that we need to thrive. And making sure others can thrive makes me feel all warm inside too. Can I circle back to something? Yes? Does Cole provide security to the members of the Digits of Eden? Yes, exactly. He has people patrol around areas to keep us safe. If anyone starts acting out and causing problems, they go and deal with them. Deal with them, huh? Before you start getting any ideas, they're not just going around and beating people up. They take them away before they can do any harm to anyone and just rehabilitate them. Do they always come back the same? Most of the time, yeah. Though some people are deemed too dangerous to keep around and they're kicked out. Sucks, really. You get a good thing like the Digits of Eden taking care of you and then you squander it. May didn't seem as disappointed as Maria did. If anything, she looked like she wanted to speak up but couldn't. Does it concern you that Cole's involved in organised crime and that that kind of person is involved in your collective law? So what? Maybe he's reformed. Maybe that's why Nigel took him in. He saw someone that knew how to manage people, and then turned Cole into a force for good instead of letting him fester with crime lords or something. So close yet so far, though I can't really blame him. I mean, he's never actually been convicted of all that stuff, right? No. Then leave him alone. He's not bothering anyone. Don't go off trying to make a mountain out of a molehill just so you can line your pockets. I'm actually doing this for free. Then you're just doing it for publicity's sake. Lots of people rely on the Digits of Eden. Sure, it's not perfect, but it's better than what the world gives us. So if you're just going to badmouth them, then... Maria stopped herself and looked to May, who'd gone silent. Look, I get this seems strange, but we're really just doing what we can to get by. Don't go digging and making trouble for us, okay? I understand. I just figured that I'd give you my thoughts. I promised I wasn't going to make any trouble for you. If you don't want me to look any further, then I'll stop. I looked to May. That's up to you, though. I suspect there's a lot going on here. I like to be thorough with my investigations. I think I'd prefer if you kept looking into this. What? But Mum! This is what it means to test your faith, Maria. Knowing the truth doesn't mean that we're throwing the Digits of Eden away to the wolves. Fine. Do what you want. Look into things and make your decisions. Just know that if you're being reckless, that you're going to cause more harm than good. I'm pretty careful. You don't need to worry. Thank you. I just hope this doesn't come back to bite us. And thus my investigation into the Digits of Eden went into full overdrive at that point. And boy, what an investigation it turned out to be. What'd you end up finding? Lead after lead after lead. Just looking into Nigel Edwards, I was able to find a bunch of odd details here and there. He had connections to all sorts of people in power as well. Politicians, head of industries, anyone with money. He was in good hands. Cole obviously was still an organised crime, but he just loaned out his services in a more legitimate manner. Sebastian and Kana are a bit harder to pin down. From what I could tell, Kana was somewhat similar to Nigel, in that she worked with a lot of influential people, but also seemed to work the internal portions of the Digits of Eden. Managing people, staff, all that sort of stuff. Sebastian, on the other hand, well, he seemed the most independent out of the bunch. Seemed to be investing his own money into some strange companies. Strange companies? I think one of them was named Emergence Solutions or something like that. Weird science mysticism stuff like that. Huh. But he also seemed to be able to influence a lot of people both in and outside the Digits of Eden, helping both Kana and Nigel as they needed. But really the breakthrough happened when May opened up to me a bit more. How so? It was obvious to me early that the Digits of Eden was just a cult, and not the mystical kind that sacrifices people to summon some ancient evil, just a corrupt group of people taking advantage of others to fulfill their own gains, using a pseudo-religion to help sell their point. I mean, it does sound pretty obvious based on what you told us. Hell, they had a protection racket with Cole. It was tricky. They do offer some help to people. In some ways, they do seem to help people. And yet at the same time, they're also manipulating and taking advantage of others. Even if they offer some help, they're still exploiting others. That's what I was thinking. It's not exactly a pleasant thought either. But like I said, once May opened up to me a bit more, I really started figuring things out. What did she tell you? She started telling me the names of people who used to participate in the Game of Fortune. You mean the other people who participated and got out alive? Finally, took us a while, but maybe we can figure something out. So, did you find out how they survived? Well, the sad truth is that most of them didn't want to talk with me, much less give me the secrets of the Game of Fortune. Damn it, so close. And surely one of them must have opened up to you. Well, some did. They pretty much went through what we were going through now. They met Belle, had to play through a bunch of death games, and when they won, they got a wish. That's the key though. Almost everyone involved was some rich person or a proxy for them. The story was usually the same as well. Either Nigel or some friend of Nigel was talking about selling wishes. Selling wishes? That's what the Digits of Eden is all about. Selling an opportunity to be here and having a wish granted. That's where they get a good amount of their money from. Those crazy rich people who want to bend reality to their will, in the literal sense. That's nuts. Yeah, well, that's not the worst of it. Crazy as it is, that's not even all that bad. I think selling tickets to a death game is pretty fucked up. How can it get worse than that? Well, try talking to former members of the Digits of Eden. You get a pretty grim picture. People who willingly left? Some willingly, some not so much. May was hesitant to bring them up because she was afraid that they'd only say bad things about the Digits of Eden, which, to be fair, they did. But for some pretty legitimate reasons. For starters, you could get beaten up or killed if you didn't contribute to the cult. Killed? How could they get away with something like that? Well, they didn't do it often. Only in extreme cases where the person posed a threat to the Digits of Eden. Think of someone willing to expose secrets off to the police or the government. They could play it off as an accident or gang activity, but let's say you got lucky and you weren't beaten up or killed. Well, now you got blacklisted instead. Barred from employment as a reminder that you're dependent on them. And they already had a system to cut you off from friends, family, basically making you all alone in a world that's against you. There are even some cases where they have their assets stolen, money, property, anything and everything. Then they leave you saddled with debt. Christ. Yeah, about as scummy as it can get. The weirdest thing is that they also have the stipulation on their rich clients too. Really? That seems a bit dangerous. You don't piss off rich people in power. Apparently that's part of the cost of doing business with them. It was a way to keep others from leaking information out. Be the one who spills the beans and lose everything. Money, possessions, maybe even your life. I'll admit that the oppressive rule over people, either through threats, promises, loyalty, or vicious dogma, made it pretty hard to find those willing to publicly speak out about what the Digits of Eden was all about. Even after piling up evidence for a couple of years, that was the biggest roadblock. And I was getting desperate myself. I wanted to show the world what I found. I was excited about having all the evidence loaded up, a flood of first-hand accounts of what the Digits of Eden did, from the most basic members to the highest of elites. But no one wanted to talk. They were all so scared, and I was stuck. But you had to have gotten a breakthrough at some point, right? All you needed was one person. You're telling me you couldn't find one? Eventually, I did. May. She was the only one willing. I'd been reporting to her for years, showing her the corrupted nature of the cult she was involved in. She couldn't ignore it, and she couldn't deny it with the mounting evidence that I was gathering. Even Maria, who'd been stalwart in supporting the Digits of Eden, had softened her stance a bit. May agreed to be the first to speak up, an older member of the Digits of Eden who knew the ins and outs of the culture. With her, I was able to convince others, start getting a coalition of voices. I was even finding more tangible evidence for their corruption and crimes. Everything was coming together. I was ready. I was ready to reveal it all. Until you couldn't. What happened? This damn game happened, that's what. You're gonna have to be more clear than that. No, that's enough for now. I said I'd talk as long as we were walking, and we're just about at the end of the hall. He pointed to the door at the end of the hallway. You can't just stop at a cliffhanger. What happened with the investigation? What happened with May and the Digits of Eden? And funny thing is, I think you already have an idea as to what happened. I'll tell you what, you make it to the end and I'll tell you how things ended. And how they're going to finish. How the hell does he manage to sound so badass all the time? Oh, I guess you might as well see what happened. Wait, just one more question. Honest. Yeah? What was the name of Veronica Valentine's ex-boyfriend? You know, the one suspected of killing her? Grant? You already know, don't you? Well, I have a gut feeling, and there was that scene earlier, but just to confirm it. Her ex's name was Grant Page. Really? Yep. So that's why he was on Grant's case earlier. He's the guy that started this whole investigation. The beginning piece of this sprawling puzzle. Anyway, that's in the past. I'm looking to the future. Let's see what lies ahead. Alphonse opened the door and we walked back into the next lounge. Standard lounge. No dead bodies, poison or other game-related things. Unless you count the few people that were already here. Ah, so we have our next arrivals. Hey guys. Hello. Put some spirit into the greeting, Richard. They no doubt have gone through a harrowing trial. All the more reason to give them some space, right? I guess you're right. What would you three prefer? Upbeat or laid back? Laid back's fine. Consider what we've just been through, an upbeat response would be nice. Split down the middle. Break the tie, Clyde. I guess laid back is better. Well, come on, Clyde. We've made it this far, we need to celebrate. If you keep being all doom and gloom, then Belle's gonna actually give us a reason to be. I'm just trying to stay composed. Nothing wrong with that. Time for a good greeting is past anyway. Best we can say now is, welcome to the semi-finals. Semi-finals? Look at that, Clyde, we made it pretty dang far. Yeah, 2 games down, 2 games to go. Guess we're getting the hang of this. Yeah, see? We'll make it to the end, no problem. Don't act so cocky. It's not like it's going to be easy to get to the end. 2 more games to go, how bad can it be? Have you seen Belle's games? They've been pretty weird, but nothing too terrible. Lucky you. Guess it hasn't been the same for you. Let's just say that we had things on the more bloody side. That's the reason why Kishi isn't here with us. That's right, Kishi was with the first group. I didn't see her, so she must not have made it through. Sorry for your loss. It's fine, it was inevitable anyway. I just wish the way she went out wasn't so damn terrible. I'm gonna have nightmares about it for weeks. Assuming you live to dream about this. Nightmares are pretty bad, but at least they eventually end. I'd rather not have them at all. But it seems pointless to complain about it now. You know, despite what you're saying, you seem to be handling it well. Yeah, well, I already cried my eyes out earlier, so I'm fine. What about you? Looks to me like Maria's gone. Something happened with her? It's fine, she just had a run of bad luck. Not sure if you'd call what happened bad luck. Seemed like bad luck to me. All the same, you seem to be faring well. Maria and I always make it a habit to leave on good terms. That's what we managed to do. That's good. If you're able to leave them happy then as they pass on, then that's an amazing blessing. I'd advise managing to find some peace here while you still have time. Don't make things sound so grim. Right. I don't mean to make things sound grim, just that, you know, sometimes the unexpected can happen. You wouldn't want to leave things unsaid. Richard, I have to agree with Devon. There's no use in making people feel gloom and doom. You try to impart a helpful message and this is what you get. It's fine, Richard. I get what you're trying to say. I'll keep it in mind. I'm glad someone gets it. I get it, Richard. You're my favourite here. Anyway, sorry for taking up your time. Try to get some rest where you can. The others scattered about the lounge, leaving Devon and I alone. Sheesh, talk about setting the mood in the worst way. You know what? You know that they're not wrong, though. This could be our last chance seeing one another. Oh, come on. Don't tell me you're going to get down in the dumps, too. I'm just taking things seriously, as should you. I'm taking things totally seriously. It's just, I don't really know how to explain it other than I'm not really that scared anymore. What do you mean you're not scared? We could still die in the next 2 games. I don't know. I just don't feel all that terrified. I remember at the start I was thinking that if I so much as left your vision that I'd be doomed in a place like this, but I don't really feel all that worried. Like, I'm sure I could handle myself just fine if it came to it. Don't look at me like that. It's not like I want you to die or anything. It's just that if you did, you can count on me winning this thing and bringing you back to life. I get what you mean, I guess. I just didn't expect to hear that. Yeah, me neither. But maybe it's just something about this place. Making me kick into overdrive so I don't die. Maybe I'll end up sobbing like a baby once it's all over. That'd be a good sign. You want me crying? I want you alive, dummy. If you're sobbing, then that means you've still got a head on your shoulders and you can muster up emotions. Fair enough. What about you? So we get out of this together? What's your plan? Plan? Probably gonna go back home and pray that I can somehow forget everything that's happened here. Part of me is still hoping that this is some twisted nightmare. That'd be a letdown. What makes you say that? After hearing that story from our phones about what the Digits of Eden are, you want it to be a dream? I feel like I'm in the season finale of a supernatural crime drama. If this were all a dream, then all that horrible stuff that the Digits of Eden and the people surrounding it have done wouldn't exist. I think that'd be preferable to having this as be an exciting moment in our lives. Okay, I guess you make a fair point. Kind of crazy that something like the Digits of Eden can exist right under our noses. Cults operate on keeping outsiders out and brainwashing people into following their dogma. Hell, some crazy celebrities could probably have cult-like followings already. They just don't use their influence in such deplorable ways. Or some do, but not on a grand scale. Devon moved over to sit by the couches and I sat beside her. It's just kind of creepy that I'm not that far from them. Not that far from them? Like degree-wise, you know, that saying the 6 degrees of separation and all that. I was kind of dangerously close in that sense. Oh, it's a small world after all. We were interrupted as Philip started singing and sat across from us, with Richard silently following behind him. That's what you're talking about, isn't it? The small world experiment? Maybe, I guess. It might be the same thing. No need to fret about the details of the experiment itself. It's commonly associated with the 6 degrees of separation. What spurred on the thought? Sorry, it always gets like this when people talk about these kinds of things. As a professor, it is always a duty for me to learn and impart my wisdom. Right. Well, earlier Alphonse told us a bit about the Digits of Eden. Apparently there's some guy named Sebastian Curtin who was one of the leaders or is involved. Yes, I've heard similar things. Turns out he's funded a company called Emergence Solutions, and if I remember correctly, my brother used to work there. Really? Yeah, he was really involved in whatever they were doing over there. He didn't really want to tell us exactly what kind of work it was, but it paid really well. Whenever we asked about it, he'd say it's going to be life-changing stuff. It's quite impressive. Is he still employed there now? No, he died in an accident about 4 years ago. Sounds to me like the Digits of Eden was trying to get rid of your brother. An accident. Oh. Don't worry, it's in the past. I was just thinking about it. How my brother might have in one way or another been involved in whatever that Sebastian guy wanted. Now I'm here, in some weird death game that's involved with the Digits of Eden. Must be fate. Fate. The world works in mysterious ways. Perhaps this is symbolic in a way. Symbolic how? Oh, I just mean, well, your brother having connections to the Digits of Eden through his work, and now you're here. Maybe something is meant to come of it. I guess it's possible. But it's not like I chose to be here. I mean, I only tagged along because Clyde needed a partner. It's a miracle in itself that I got chosen to show up here through sheer luck. Though, if I'd said no, would you have still ended up coming here with someone else? My friends have scattered across the states. I doubt anyone would fly themselves out to Maryland just for this. Especially since it would seem shady as hell. Then maybe I really was destined to show up here. You never know how the world pulls things together. It really must be a miracle of sorts that you've chosen to be here, and then pulled Devon along. Fate, it sure can be a wonderful thing at times. Why are you getting all wistful? No reason. I just find the notion somewhat endearing, that's all. I find it terrifying. That means that we're doomed to be in a stupid, shitty death game from the start. Well, yes, you do have to take the good and the bad. But you don't have to subscribe to the idea. Maybe there are a lot of fun coincidences in the world. I do wonder, though, how many of us might be connected. You mean here, or? Yes, in a more general sense, I wonder if any of us have touched one another's lives in ways that we've never known about. Maybe we all have the same birthday. Maybe that's what brought us here. I figured that it had more to do with the Digits of Eden and this game. As far as I know, only Devon, myself, Lilith and Laura had no clues as to what was going on in this place. Right, but even so, you two somehow got pulled in here. Perhaps Laura and Lilith have some unknown connection as well. Maybe to a Digits of Eden member or a mutual acquaintance. I know for sure that there were some familiar faces here. Really? Like who? Well, I know of Jade, though I doubt he knows of me. I like to think I'm still friends with Elizabeth, and in turn I know of William. Likewise, I knew Kishi when she was just a little baby. Hey, you're really well connected. Well, some of that is just due to old relationships and the nature of this place. Plus, I've lived quite the adventurous life. I like to explore around. What about you, Richard? Any familiar faces here? I pretty much know the same people that Dad knows, maybe even less. The only person I'd say I'd know would be Kishi, but that was when we were younger. I guess that makes sense. Still, there might be unknown threads of connection that we'll only find out if we discuss them thoroughly. I mean, I guess that's possible. I think I'd be weirded out if everyone was connected in some way. I think it'd be an amazing miracle of the universe, a bunch of strangers finding commonalities that they didn't even think about. You're getting really romantic about the idea. In a way, we're all connected, just some more than others. I guess. Everyone's connected in some way. Sounds like it'd be a horribly complicated mess, to say the least. But I guess it'd be a fun cosmic joke. Though, I really don't see much of a connection between myself and the others here. I'm an outsider looking in at best. At least Devon has some tangential connection. Well, if fate really did bring us here because we're connected, really hope that it has plans to get us out. The talk continued for a few more minutes, and I kind of lost track of the conversation. After a while, it ended up with Philip arguing with Richard over something stupid. I only focused up a little because I felt Devon's hand crawl up to mine and hold onto it lightly. I tried to savor these moments. After all, survival was never guaranteed. Time passed. I think eventually I passed out on the couch. Nothing we had done was physically taxing, but my body might have been fried all the same. Rest was nice, to forget about all this, to let my mind wander and dream, coming up with odd scenarios that were more welcome than other things going on here. How pleasant. My eyes slowly fluttered open, and the first thing I noticed was the silence. No chattering, no noise, only the extremely quiet breaths of those around me. I could see Philip and Richard asleep on the couch across from me. Devon and I were leaning against each other, and she was still fast asleep. I craned my head slightly, and I could see that Alphonse and Zeph had fallen asleep in the kitchenette, heads buried into the counter. Guess everyone decided to take a nap at the same time then. All the same, the silence made the sound of new entrants stand out like colour on a canvas. It's quiet. Yeah, seems they've all taken a good rest. A shame that we have to wake them. Surely we could let them take a few more minutes of rest. They might need it. No amount of rest will prepare them for what's to come. Well, it might. Besides, do you want to be the one to wake them up? What, are you afraid they're going to take a swing at you? People don't like being awoken from their dreams. Well, someone will have to do it. They were right about having to eventually wake everyone up. But still, I wouldn't have minded to have a few more moments of peace like this. So much for that. Well, you got good timing. The last few have arrived. Have they? Devon rubbed her eyes and yawned. Then she looked to see Everett and Grant walking further into the lounge. Oh, looks like we woke them up. Sorry about that. That's fine, I didn't even realise that I'd nodded off. Guess that means it's game time, right? More or less, yeah. I'll go and wake the others. Grant, you wake the ones here. Alright. Everett left to go to the kitchenette while Grant roused Philip and Richard awake. Easy, just waking you all up. Ah, yes, I guess we did fall asleep now, didn't we? What a pleasant nap. It was alright. That's what happens when you talk our ears off. We're bound to just pass out eventually. I don't think I was that boring. Not boring, just long. But it's no big deal. I'm sure that something you said stuck in my head. Probably. Way to cheer them up. Looks to me that Everett and Grant were the only survivors of their game. Well, we only had 2 deaths so far, so that last game was going to have at least 2 deaths as well. Right. I hope that William and Jade found peace. Do you guys have any idea how you want to group up for the next game? I guess we could pair up again for this game, even though you might have to kill one another? Richard simply shrugged. We'll manage as best we can, but at this point it might be pointless to avoid it. The later rounds go, the more likely you are to have to kill one another. He speaks the truth, and what better person to kill me than my own son? Are you aware of the words that you're speaking? It sounded better in my head. I guess I'd be more comfortable with Devon. Warmed up to the idea that you might have to end my life. No, why would I? Just checking to make sure you haven't gotten bored of me yet. Maybe we should grab Alphonse again. He seemed like our lucky charm. So far nothing bad has happened to us when the 3 of us are together. I guess, but even if he agreed, we need another person to join us. Either Grant, Zeph, or Everett. Oh, Zeph, please. I guess I don't really mind any of them. Let's just see what happens when we group up. Alright, looks like the ones moving towards the game doors. The others are moving towards the game doors, so let's go and join them and see how this will go. We'll get up and join the others for the final discussion for our groups. Okay everyone, this is the last time that we're going to have to be sorted into groups. From what I've heard, Richard and Philip will be joining together, is that right? Indeed it is, yep. And I also believe that Clyde and Devon will be pairing up as well. Yep, thought we'd like it if Alphonse joined up with us as well. Why me? You're our lucky charm, we'd love to have you again. You think all I'm good for is bringing you good luck? And good fortune, plus I want to hear how your story ended. Well, I suppose I don't have any reason to say no. I'd just like to make one request. And what would that be? I'd like Grant to join up with me in the next game. I knew this was going to happen. Are you against the idea? Well, sort of, but not enough to protest it. If you really want me to join you, then I'll do it. That'd mean Everett and I would pair up with Richard and Philip. I have no problems with this arrangement. I would have preferred to pair up with Alphonse. Really? Yes, but it's not a big deal. Since we got all the groups set up, what's next is the door order. I'd prefer to go early if that's okay with the rest of you. Fine with me. Likewise, I don't have a preference either way, honestly. I think I'm happier that you want to go first. You probably just grilled me while we're there waiting for the others to finish if we let them go first. You gotta have more faith in me. I don't mind going second. A little bit more rest is a good thing. I'm also not going to say no to more rest. You just want to sleep, don't you? My dreams do tend to be fun and thrilling. Not that this place isn't fun and thrilling in its own right. Well, then we've decided everything. Good luck and good fortune to you all. Hopefully I see some of you in the finals. You'll need it. So much for warm goodbyes. We walked into the waiting room and the door closed quietly behind us. If you're going to ask me any questions, you might as well do it now, Alphonse. Don't know if you're going to get much time during the game. Well, there might be time afterwards if you survive. You're going to try and keep me alive to the end just to interrogate me? I don't even know what more you could want. I already told you the most important part. Not much. I just want to know how you got involved in that mess to begin with. And to confirm whether you've been involved with the Game of Fourtune 8 years ago. Grant looked awkwardly between Devon and I. They know the basics. You don't have to worry about this being a surprise to them. It's not like I have a right to keep it a secret. Anyway, it's true that I played in the Game of Fourtune 8 years ago, and that's how I was able to get away with it. So he did play here a few years ago. I guess what I'm wondering is, why? Why would they let you participate just so you could kill someone? It wasn't even anyone particularly important. I don't believe that you're all that special yourself. That's exactly why. It was just a test. A test? My inclusion to the Game of Fourtune 8 years ago wasn't really planned. It was something that was done on the spot due to an accident. Cole had been suggesting for a while they use the Game of Fortune in a more violent manner, wishing people dead as a way to threaten others to do whatever the Digits of Eden wanted. From what I remember though, I don't think Nigel was on board with the idea, too afraid that people would start investigating into the odd deaths. Nigel had worries that maybe even the government or even other organisations would come for them if they thought they'd start killing others. So Cole convinced the others that if they started small it'd be fine. Then they let a nobody like you kill some innocent girl to prove that it'd be untraceable? That's what he told me a long time ago. Clearly it didn't work out since you were on their tail ever since it happened. I can only hope that they haven't actually continued down that line of murdering people through wishes. You haven't kept in touch? No, for the better. I don't really want to know what's been going on in there. I see. Well, that's all I really wanted to know. That's it? I mean, I could go digging for more information, but this is good enough. And here I thought you were going to ask question after question, like an actual interrogation. There might be time for that later. Ugh. I can say this much. They haven't really gone the whole hog on the murder through wishes idea, with one exception. Still one too many. Oh, but there can always be more. We turn to the television screen where Belle's wicked smile graced us. And with that, we're going to wrap this episode up here, because we're out of time for today. In the next episode, I guess we're going to be kicking off with the next game, which is the second to last game, right, in this run. We're getting pretty close to this end, which I am sure will spell out more of Alphonse's background, which will be interesting. I like how every route is connected to a specific character that we get to know more about. I like it. Anyway, thanks for watching, Bruce, and I'll see you in the next one.